Hey up, hope you're all doing well. As you can see, we're back in the fish house with the grow on tank. So a quick update, I finally got round to adding a second tank. It's not as I originally planned. I had a smaller, sort of an IBC sized tank that was going to go on the end of this setup to serve as a hospital quarantine tank, a standalone system. So I veered away from that idea and finally got round to adding a second tank. Completely, it's almost identical to this one. It is very slightly smaller, but it's all on the same system, so it's all linked. So my idea is this first tank, this one is going to be for fry. I've ordered some fry and they're due to come in beginning of May. So I've insulated the polycarbonate lid, you'll see from the last video, a couple of changes. Just put a quick wooden frame on, hinged it. See, it now lifts up nicely. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on because all the fish are out of here now. I've taken the bottom drain grid off because I'm going to be putting fry in here. We've got some mesh, I don't know if you can see that, just to prevent any fry escaping down the bottom drain. We've put that mesh on there. So the fish have now moved. You might be able to see the two returns from the shower. They both went down. You can see the hole where the other one went down in the top corner there. They both fed into this, obviously. All I've done is run some. I had some pipe left over from when I redid the runs, so it's just gravity fed all the way and it returns into these. There was two return on this tank already, so that was really handy. I've just thought that's almost blanked off, so the return just goes into there. The fish have already been fed, so I don't know if they'll come up, but now they're in here. Put that up. So yeah, this is the new tank. So this is almost the next stage, if you like. So once the fry reach a certain size, then they'll move from this one into this one, because it, again, like I said, it's all the same body of water. It's all heated. There's a proper aquarium light bar. I'm really impressed with that. It gives off a really good light. I understand they're quite expensive. It did actually come with this tank. Obviously it was second hand, so I was really pleased with that. And there's the fish there. They might be spooked because I've got the main garage lights on and they're bright LEDs and they're not a fan. So I will just put them away for now. Don't like spooking them for no reason. So you can see I've started cladding the outside of this one as well. It's just the same with the soffits cladding. I just need some corner edging for these to neaten that off. We've got out ambient temperature in here sits at about 12.5, but as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but that says 23.2 in that tank, and this one is 23.7. so there's half a degree variance. Considering it's the same body of water, the warm water is obviously returned through the shower and through the runs, so that, you know, that would explain the half a degree variance, but I'll take that. It just means I can run a single system for two different sizes of fish, if you like, all from the same heating. I did a scrape on the on these grow on fish. I did a scrape the other day and that came out all clear. Again, if you've seen any of the videos a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, whenever this goes on, I don't know, that I got flukes in the main pond. So it sort of prompted me. I mean, there's been no cross contamination from this pond, from this setup, sorry, to the pond, but it just sort of gets you thinking, and I suppose you want to make sure that your fish are healthy anyway. So I didn't see any harm in doing a scrape, but that all came back negative, so that's good. What else have we got? We've still got the Senai unit on this. It is really good. The ammonia is now creeping down, as it's still a new system. It's still only just over a month old at the time of filming this, so considering the amount of fish and the immature filters, the fact that I've managed to keep the ammonia right down, and I have been full feeding as well now. I did stop the feeding, but then my thoughts were it was kind of counterproductive, because I need the fish to be producing the ammonia, so the filters are able to then convert it. So by restricting the feeding, I was restricting the amount of ammonia I was putting into the system. Essentially my thinking was slowing it down, and that's been borne out by the facts that I think 4 or 5 days into feeding properly, overnight the ammonia would drop substantially. So I'd feed all day, and then through the night the filters would go to work on the ammonia. I did have to look out for nitrite spikes, which there've been none, so all my testing is very slight ammonia. In fact, I'm lying, the testing, with this test kit here, the API test kit, whenever I tested for ammonia on this tank, it would always be here, and possibly in between these two. But obviously I've got the Senai, which reads free ammonia, which is different. So that reading there is total ammonia. So although that reading was saying there's very little total ammonia, the Senai was showing me that there was a certain amount of free ammonia. Obviously there's an acceptable, I say acceptable, there is an amount where it's not going to be harmful or too harmful, providing that your pH is low enough. So the lower your pH, the less harmful the free ammonia is, if that makes sense. So that's why I decided to let the filters run, continue feeding, because I've got such finite monitoring with the Senai. It was sort of easy to keep an eye on the levels and make sure. And obviously if there was a massive spike, then I'd stop. I did start putting ammonia remover in the beginning, but again, it's sort of artificial to what you're trying to achieve, because I need the filters to be processing the ammonia, so there's no point me removing all the ammonia from the water. And it wasn't massively effective anyway, the ammonia remover I got. I did highlight it in one of the videos to say I was going to be using it. Just my personal experience, it didn't do any good. I was far better off leaving the system to mature itself. It's just time, and when you're super impatient, that's not often what you want to hear. Just wait and the filters will mature. But for my mind, as long as the fish were all right, then we were all good. So I've gone on a tangent and waffling. So yeah, that's the new setup bit. All I did to connect the two tanks was I replaced this 4-inch valve here, because there was a crack. I found a crack in the old one across, because it's quite stiff, so when you put pressure on, if you try and turn it the wrong way, it cracked across here. So all I did, I replaced that, and it's a 4-inch rubber boot, but it's a T-piece. So obviously that's the old drain coming in, that's the new drain coming in, both feeding directly up. So that's all I had to do to connect the two, and then the return. I probably didn't have to return to the second tank. I probably could have had both returns going into there, but for the sake of moving the water around and keeping it as even as I could, then again, there's no harm in running that little extra line and having a double return. So yeah, I think that's about it. That's the update on this lot. The Senai slide is due for replacement, so I've got the new slide soaking there. For anyone that doesn't know, you have to soak the slide in pond water for 48 hours before you insert it into the sensor. So I've got that going on. I think that's about it. I've got lots of tidying up to do.